Hey, so I got called a race traitor by an old school friend the other day, which is an interesting experience if it's ever happened to you. For context, I grew up in South Africa, so my old school friend is one of the guys from my school who remained in South Africa. And I was talking about the necessity to be anti-racist, not just not racist. And his assertion back was, we are now oppressed by reverse racism, and you should be proud to be white. I'm proud to be a white man. And I've got two things to say about this, really. The first is, how the fuck can you be proud of something that you had absolutely nothing to do with? It's like being proud of being tall or proud of having brown eyes. You had nothing to do with it. There's no pride involved in that, particularly because as a white man, you've never suffered from any disadvantage that you've had to overcome due to your race or your gender. And therefore, to be a proud white man is utterly nonsensical because there's no achievement in what you've done. And I'll come back to the South African context in a second. But as an aside, I wanted to say a person is perfectly capable of being a proud black man, because to step out into the world as a black man, for example, amongst other races, requires the overcoming of systemic disadvantages. So you have achieved something by living out loud as a black man. And so saying I'm a proud black man means something. Saying I'm a proud white man in the Western world is a meaningless and rather stupid and delusional thing to say. But I said I'd come back to the South Africa thing because I think it's important. Because there are many, many white people there who say that they are now the oppressed, that they are now suffering from reverse racism. And I say that's nonsense. For decades and decades, the white people of South Africa were the oppressors, particularly, of course, under the apartheid regime. But since the 1994 election and majority government in a truly democratic South Africa, whites have not been oppressed in return for their original oppression. They have simply had their advantages taken away. It's not the same thing. I think many white South Africans, particularly English-speaking ones, are completely ignorant of the fact that the reason there was such a low unemployment rate amongst whites in South Africa was that thousands and thousands and thousands of non-jobs were created by the state in the quangos, like the railways, the post office, the army, the police, the power grid, where often there were 5 people doing the job of 1. It was basically protected employment for whites who were otherwise unemployable. So when all of that ended, is it any surprise that that advantage disappeared?